Welcome back to the Flow Friday Sports Show on Flow FM, and Pat Brown is joining me for a look at the River Murray Netball Association's results from last weekend and this weekend's fixtures as well. Great to have you back on the show, Pat. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, Dan. And you?
Going very well, thank you. As are the Imperials girls, no doubt, because they scored a very good win over Maipo. It was a grand final rematch, and the Imps got up 54-51. Very good game here to kick off last weekend's action.
Yeah, look, it was a brilliant game. It was the actual second live feed game for the River Murray Football League. So I was down there, so I had the privilege of being able to watch this game. And Maipo actually came out more settled than Imps did, and at one stage during the first quarter were 7 goals up before the Blues actually started to settle and peg back their lead. It was a great battle to watch, particularly between the two centre players, Olivia Bolt and Stacey Smith. A lot of experience between those two girls, and they had a good hard battle for all the game. But it was actually the defensive pressure by Imps across Maipo's attacking transverse line that actually let Imperial's wing defence Demi Dunn and goal defence Lucy Harkness into the game. And this caused great pressure in trying to enter the Maipo goal third that actually turned the game in favour of Imps during the third quarter. Up until then, Maipo were in the lead. Both goal shooters shot extremely well, and the game was played out in such great spirit and strong competitiveness. It was a really excellent game of netball to watch. These two clubs have battled each other for years and years and years. And this was nearly as hard, not quite as hard as in the past because there were so many younger players on the court, but there was such great camaraderie between the two teams as they battled. It was a really great game to watch, and I loved it. And, yeah, Imps won 1.5 of the quarters and won the game. It was a lot closer than what some people expected, including me. I thought Imps would win it quite well, but no. Maipo came out really, really well, and their tall, young goal shooter, Charlie Lewis, she shot brilliantly, was fed so well this time round, and shot beautiful. It was a really great game of netball. I loved it.
All right, excellent fight from Maipo, but it is Imperials that get the points from that one. Not so close in our next game. Southern Suns 86 over the Coorong Cats 17, and the Suns have got a habit for putting lots of points on the board lately. Lots of goals, I should say.
Yes, they have. Look, it was the Cats' day to celebrate Ladies' Day, and they would have been hoping for, a competitive game, if not a win. Both teams started by converting their first centre pass, but that's where it ended. The Suns just put their feet down. They started to apply the pressure throughout the whole area of the court. The shooting by their goalie, Hannah Sexton, was actually very, very, very good. And it just lifted the Suns to dominate each quarter. I mean, the Cats tried to come back into the game, made changes, particularly at half-time, to try and stop the flow of the Suns. But when you play 3/4 of a game of netball and you come out in the final quarter and shoot 31 goals, you're on a roll, and there's no way you're going to be able to be shut down and let up the pressure. 31 goals in the last quarter out of 86 is an amazing scoreline after already having played 3/4 of a game of netball. So the Suns are really, really on a high at the moment, and I'm not too sure who's going to slow them down.
Well, in round 6, they scored 64 goals against Jervois. Round 7, 84 goals against the Ramblers. Round 9, 62 against Tailem Bend. And then this round, it was 86 goals against the Cats. So they haven't had the hardest run, but they have been piling on the goals. And as a result, their percentage has shot all the way up. And they are now on top of the ladder. They have leapfrogged the Imperials. So someone might be able to slow them down, but no one is doing it at the moment.
Yeah, and of course, who's the Suns playing this week? Imperials.
All right, we'll get back to that in just a moment, but we'll just finish off the round 9 action. Mallee Storm over the Ramblers at 56-41. So the Ramblers continue to slide a little bit, not quite mixing it with the best teams in the comp, but a good win by the Storm.
No, it was a good contest. There was good passing, fast leads by both teams. Accuracy was a highlight of the start of the game, but Storm have too much height and too much body strength, and they like to play a tall player game. And that's a bit of an obstacle for Ramblers. They don't have a lot of excessive height across the playing positions, so they would have found a whole game of this tall player game very tiring for them. The feeding into the Ramblers goal circle became more difficult because of that height factor as the game progressed. Players for Ramblers like Caitlin Schubert and Helene Altman, I mean, they did their best to lift their team and get their team back in there and counteract that height. But the Storm were just too strong on the day, too tall and too bodily able to ride the bumps. And that would have been the big difference between the Storm and Ramblers.
All right, last match of last weekend, Mannum in a close one over Jervois, 50-45. They went in equal points on the ladder, so Mannum have shot ahead of Jervois now.
It was a close contest by both teams. The height in defence for Mannum is one of their greatest assets, and although the blood shooters are very used to it, it can become an advantaged pressure that only it's very hard to hold against for a whole game. Cracks start to appear, the feeding starts to get a little bit sloppy, they tend to try and force the ball, so they try and go over the height of players like the Mannum's goal defender, and it's just too hard. They would have done everything they could have to try and win the game because they're a bit of a surprise package this year, Jervois. Usually they're sitting on the bottom of the table and they're not this year. So they, so far this season, they've showed an improvement. But Mannum were just too strong across all 7 playing positions on this occasion.
All right, so everyone has played each other team once now. We've sort of finished the first round of games, and as the ladder sits, the Suns and Imps on top at 7-1, Mallee Storm next at 6-2, Mannum and the Ramblers at 4-4, Maipolonga and Jervois 3-5, and Tailem Bend and the Coorong Cats 1-7. So there is a pretty clear hierarchy at the moment. We'll see if that hierarchy dictates this weekend's results. The Ramblers are hosting the Coorong Cats tomorrow.
So Ramblers should return to the winner's circle this week. The Cats have struggled to find a strong whole team connection, which they will continue to work on, but the Ramblers at home will be too strong and confident for the Cats.
And let's skip ahead to the match of the round. Imperials and the Southern Suns, winner takes top spot. They're both in great form, and I'm sure you're going to struggle to pick who's going to win this one.
Yeah,
I think most people would.
Yeah, look, it's definitely the game of the round. Absolutely, no doubt of that. Last time Imps won by 14 goals. But so much has happened since then. The Suns have been you could say they've been on a roll, but I reckon they've been more like a bulldozer run. Both teams are at the top of the ladder, as you said, and this will be a great game to go and watch. I'm even thinking that if the rain stays away from me, I might just go and watch this one because I think Imps got a bit scared last week against Maipo. I think they would have thought they were going to win that game quite confidently, and they gave Maipo that 7-goal lead at quarter time. Imps can't do that with Suns. If they give the Suns a leg in that first quarter, the Suns will run with it and they will win. If Imps can go goal for goal with them and keep that pressure and minimise their opportunities and everything, then it could go either way. It's actually going to come down to how both teams start the game before we even worry about how they finish it. So, yeah, look, I mean, Blues people will go for the Blues and Suns will go for the Suns. I'm going to go for the Suns.
I thought you might go for the draw there, but that's all right. The tip's in for the Suns.
I think it's going to be close, but no, normally I would say Imps, but I think Suns have been so strong lately and they seem to be so settled, and Imps were a bit on and off last week, so I'm going to go for the Suns.
Suns are certainly on a roll. We'll see if it continues tomorrow. 2 more games this weekend. We'll race through these, Pat. Maipolonga are hosting Jervois and Tailem Bend are hosting Mannum. The Mallee Storm have the bye.
That's right, yeah. So in the Maipo Jervois, it'll be an interesting contest because as Jervois have been a bit of a surprise package, as I said, because they've normally been down the bottom, and at the moment these two teams are sitting 6th and 7th. I would have given Jervois a chance up until last week, but after seeing Maipo against Imps, I think Maipo will maintain their position over Jervois. It won't be by a lot, but I still think the Tigers will run over the top of the Bloods. I don't think the Bloods has got anybody to counteract the height and the accuracy of Maipo's goal shooter, Charlie Lewis. So I think that will be the difference. If they can give Charlie the ball, Maipo will win the game.
Lucky last, Taylor Bend and Mannum, and you were at this game in the first round.
And it was a really even contest right up until the last quarter, and then Mannum ran away with it. So Taylor Bend will be looking for revenge on this one with so many weeks of practice under their lap, but I still think Mannum have got the hide over Taylor Bend.
All right, big games coming up in round 10 of the River Murray Netball Association. Good luck if you are playing, Pat. Enjoy all the action. Hopefully you can get out to watch the Imps and the Suns. It should be a cracker.
Yeah, I'm hoping to, yeah.
Excellent, and we look forward to getting your review on that next week. Have a good weekend.
Same to you, Dan.